Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is an update to my 2 weeks 1 palette series. So basically it's where I use one palette for 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks I exchange it for another palette. And so this video is where I show the palette I've been using for 2 weeks and sort of give a mini review, and then I will also show the palette I will be using for the next 2 weeks. And I know I've been sort of back and forth on this project because for the first 2 weeks I used my Lime Crime Venus palette and I really liked that palette, so I was like, should I maybe use the palette I choose for 1 month instead? And I know I said in my previous update that I was going to try this for at least 8 weeks, and then I would see if I would change to 1 month 1 palette instead. But now that I've been using a new palette for 2 weeks, I've been using the Meet Matte Nude eyeshadow palette from the Balm, which is an all matte palette. It looks like this. But now that I've been using this for 2 weeks, I'm glad I did not change it to 1 month, because I'm very excited to use another palette than this. So I will be sticking to 2 weeks 1 palette. And I'm also glad about this, because it sort of gave me a measure of actually how much I like my Lime Creme palette, because I already knew I love that palette, but now I know I love it even more. So yeah, well, let's get into this one. As I said, it's an all matte palette. It looks like this on the inside. I wanted to, in my previous in my intro, I said I wanted to focus on this shade right here and on this, and I think I said this shade as well. Well, I have Get Ready With Me using this shade right here, and I have actually been using this, but I have not been very good with using eyeshadows for the last couple of weeks, so I don't have any progress at all basically on this. I have used all the shades, so I'm happy with that, and I know more where I stand with this palette and how I feel about it. And I mean, I like all the shadows. I mainly want to keep this palette because I use this grey shadow and this shadow a lot, because they are every time I know I want to do a cool tone look with grey shadows, I always reach for this palette. So yeah, and I also use this white shade once to set under my eye, which worked okay. So I will be keeping it, but yeah, it's not my favorite palette. So I don't know if I said it, but I was thinking in the intro that if I really like this palette, I would probably go ahead and buy the second palette in this series, so the Meet Matrimony palette. But yeah, I don't think I will buy it, because because it's not my favorite formula. I have other shades that are similar to those in that palette, so yeah, I won't buy that one. But yeah, I don't know what to say about it more. Check out the I'm wearing one look in the intro, but I didn't do like a demo of that, and I have also done a Get Ready With Me. So if you want to see how I use this palette, you can check out those videos. And yeah, I will be glad to move on. So for the next 2 weeks I will be working on this Makeup Addiction Cosmetics Meadow palette. I bought their, they usually, or they are more famous for making brushes. They used to only make brushes, but then they came out with an eyeshadow palette that was called the Flaming Love palette. And I bought that palette and I love it. I love all the, especially all the shimmer shades. I think they really nailed it with the shimmer shades. And then they came out with a palette called the Vintage palette. And it's a lot more neutral palette, so I didn't buy that because, yeah, I don't need to buy every single neutral palette that is released. Well, I basically never buy the neutral palettes that are released. But then they came out with this one, the Meadow palette, which is a lot more colorful. This is what it looks like. Oh, sorry, the mirror is all dirty. But this is what it looks like on the inside, and this will be my starting point for 2 weeks. Yeah, I love the shades in here. These are all shimmery shades, and these 3 are mattes. And it's the same in the Flaming Love palette. It has 3 mattes and the rest 5 shimmers. Yeah, so for the look I'm wearing right now, I used this blue shade right here. This also bluish greenish shade, these 2 mattes down here, and the pink. And I also used my face highlight as an inner corner highlight because I thought it went well with the look. Yeah, so I'm excited to use this for the next 2 weeks. I'm hoping I will by the end of these 2 weeks be the same way I was with the Venus palette, and say that I would like to use it for more than 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm excited to use this. And I've also filmed a demo for the look I'm wearing right now, so I will also insert that into the end of this video. So yeah, stay tuned if you're curious for that, and yeah, let's get into the demo. So let's get into the demo. Here I'm just taking MAC's Painterly Paint Pot and applying that all over my lid up to my brow bone. And then I'm also setting the base with a shadow that's close to my skin tone. And then I'm taking the shade called Sweet Peach from the palette, which is a warm sort of transition mid-toned brown. And I'm applying this into my crease and blending it up towards my brow bone to have a nice transition between the lid and or the shadows we will apply to the lid and then to my skin tone. And here I'm taking the shadow called Duke from the palette, which is a very warm toned sort of brown, and I'm applying this also into my crease, and I'm keeping it a bit lower than the first shade just to have that nice transition. I really like this shade, I think it's pretty. And here I'm taking a clean brush and just blending out the edges again and re-intensifying. And then I'm taking this smaller brush from Zoeva, and I'm taking the shade Crushed Blueberry from the palette, and I'm applying this on my outer corner and sort of blending it up into the crease, and placing it with the smaller Zoeva brush, and then I'm blending it out with the first brush we used, and then I will also blend out with a clean here you can see I'm using the clean blender brush again. So just keep blending out and applying color. And here I'm taking this shade in a palette, which I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a blue with some green reflex in it, so it's sort of duochrome. And I'm applying that all over my lid. And then I'm taking the shade called Pink Blossom, and I'm applying that on the inner parts of my lid, so the inner fourth maybe. And I'm just taking the brush I used for the blue again to blend these together and intensifying it again. And then I'm taking the shade again called Crushed Blueberry that I used on my outer corner, and I'm applying this all along my lower lash line and connecting it to the outer corner and sort of working on the shape of the eyeshadow. And then I'm taking a small Suiva brush again and applying the Glitz highlighter from Makeup Geek on my inner corner, because it has sort of a pinkish tone to it, so I thought it would go well with this look. And then I'm just applying mascara and some a pair of lashes from H&M, but these were limited edition, so but I really like them, so I hope they will make them again. Yeah, and so here is the finished look, or I'm still missing some lipstick, but yeah, I hope you like it, and I will see you in my next one.